I'm Joe.
I'm Jill's mom.
And we're Eastside Vibes. So I think I mentioned last week that there hasn't been a lot of like new music that I've been excited about lately, so I haven't had like stuff for us to review and stuff to write about really.
Yeah, that's been for a couple weeks now we've been doing that.
Yeah. Although I will say like next week I think I have some things we can check out again. So
Alright.
some newer stuff.
Cool.
We'll try to get back into that. But anyway, because of that, I decided to do another like one of my personal favorite albums, because when we first started this, a lot of it was me like showing my mom like some of like my personal favorite like records from growing up, just like to kind of show her like where like my music like taste comes from or whatever.
Right, because he grew up always listening to my music. I mean, I played music
And
all
just
the time.
listening to music.
And now you're showing me what you were actually listening
Yeah.
to.
But I think one of the first things we did was Gorillaz Demon Days.
That was one of them, yep.
Probably one of our first videos, and the Gorillaz have like my mom's probably known the Gorillaz have like always been one of my all-time favorite artists, like since I was a kid.
Yes.
Literally since I was like a kid when Demon Days came out, and I wanted to like show you like why I was so into this. And we never like went back to the Gorillaz after that. We just like started listening to new stuff and like whatever. But I wanted to this week go back to what's probably my actual favorite Gorillaz album, and one of my favorite albums, just like period. And that's Plastic Beach by the Gorillaz. It's their second album. I will say it's interesting, and before like we get into it, and I wonder if you're the same way. When I like think of a lot of what I would say are my favorite albums, they're things that came out around the time I was in like late high school or like maybe 1920.
You're talking like your favorite of all time albums?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was curious if that was the same for you. It's like maybe that was like the most nostalgia of when I was like really into music or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, my
when I was
mom
having fun.
constantly played music. Constantly. We had a big console and she played it all the time. So I was always listening to music, but it was more country, more like Patsy Cline, that type of stuff. But I would say when I hit the 80s, I think music really popped more for younger kids in the 80s. So I was in high school then, and the music, like, girls just want to have fun. You wouldn't have heard that in the 70s, you know?
Like,
so
what do you
that's
think
when I
are
think
your
it popped.
What do you think are your favorite albums though? Like, or when did they come out? That would just be like ones you would say are your favorite.
Whatever in 1984, Purple Rain.
So like around the same age that I'm talking about. Then.
Yeah, definitely.
Like 17 to 20, like in that age range.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just wondering because when I like say like this is one of my favorite albums, and it did come out, was it 2010 I believe?
Yeah.
So it would have been when I was in high school.
Yeah. Another one that I think it was in the 90s, this is one of my favorite, is NXS. Oh, have you ever listened to them?
Yeah,
I love NXS.
They're like they might be like the inspiration for some of this, to be honest. Like
Who would be older, NXS or this? Oh, NXS what? Because it was in the 90s. Yeah.
NXS is probably even before Blur, which is this guy's first band.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so like I mentioned, we're talking about Gorillaz Plastic Beach this week. I'm not really gonna like try so much to get into the lore of the Gorillaz, because if I did that,
it'd be a 3-hour show.
Yeah, this could be a documentary.
You know, you may have done that in the first album that we did.
We probably did a little bit, because I mean, the one thing about this group is like because it's like a virtual band, like it's like a it's like a virtual band created by someone with characters that are fake but real.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Because of that, there's been like you can like read like the comics online. Like there's like background for all of the music, for all of the characters, for everything.
That's so cool.
So if you want to, you can like just dive into this, and it could be
down the hole.
Be your whole world. Yeah, it's like a story. But this week, I think we're gonna talk more just like strictly about like the music like of this album. I mean, we can talk a little bit about the characters, but you know.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I thought it was like a gorgeous album. Like, I mean, the first one, it was more, I don't know what you call the first one, like
Well, it's like
funk
darker.
or darker. I think this one, it's still, the concept is still dark and sad,
Yeah.
but it's just, I think the singing in this one, I liked that. I thought it was pretty cool. Okay, so you're gonna laugh.
I think this one is a lot more hip hoppy.
Yes, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. A lot of collaborations in this one. Holy cheese balls. So you're gonna laugh. So Plastic Beach. Initially, I thought this was about the fakeness of society in California. Like everything is plastic. So
Well,
I'm
maybe
thinking
not California, but like.
where I was just
In
thinking it was
general.
California because it said beach.
Oh.
So I was like, I think this is about face jobs and boob jobs and weight loss and
No.
flaunting yourself on Rodeo Drive. So that's what I thought this whole album was going to be about. And then when I found out it's actually about like the environment
Yeah.
and how humans not only affect the environment but how they interact with each other.
Yeah.
I was like, I am way off on what I initially thought, which was very cool because then it made me just appreciate. I think it made me appreciate the it more because I was kind of like, if it's going to be about the plasticness or whatever, okay. But then when I found out the actual meaning,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is much more inspiring.
Yeah, I guess like before like we even like talk about the music, like the title Plastic Beach is literally referring to, I forget what the name of it is. It's called like the Great Pacific Garbage Ball or something like that.
It's a metaphor for the floating island of garbage in the Pacific
Yeah, there's
Ocean.
there's a name for it, but
Yeah.
it's like this ball of garbage that's like the size of like
And-
like Texas or something.
Yeah, it's like an island that's
Yeah.
out there. I wonder how far down it goes, or if it's actually floating.
Yeah, that I mean I guess
I'm
we could
curious
research
about that,
that,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
like
that's
there's
what.
like theories as to why that happens. They say it's because like the waves like make all the garbage go there, or
And this is in the Pacific.
yeah,
so
it's like kind of off the like near China-ish.
that is just so bizarre.
But yeah,
It's terrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it's
is.
terrible.
that's what the Plastic Beach is literally referring to.
Yep.
And it's almost like these like characters go and like live there.
Yes.
Like they're on
Yes. yes.
on like the garbage beach.
Yeah, they're their own natives on
Yeah.
the garbage beach.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess is there any more background you want to get into before we
Nope.
get into this? Because yeah, like I said, you could talk about this forever, but you know, I feel like this week we'll focus more just like on
Music.
our actual favorite songs and all that.
Yeah.
But
Like I said, you could go down a deep hole if you really. I mean, there was
Yeah.
so much background on this, and I'm like, I got to cut myself off.
yeah. Another thing is like as far as favorite songs, I'll talk about a few of my favorites, but I could probably talk about every
Every
song
one of them.
on this album because they're all my favorite.
Yep. I'm sure you have the lyrics down too for every one of them.
For a lot of the songs, yeah, I could without even like listening to it for a while, I could still like probably sing all the lyrics.
You did that last week. You were citing some lyrics without even like seeing the lyrics in front of
Yeah.
you.
But so I guess I'll let you talk about like some of your favorites first.
Okay, I think my two are like right off the bat. All right, I know this isn't a song, but I feel on the last couple albums that we've listened to, there have been like these. It happened last week too. I think there was like interludes of music in between, and so this one starts off. I love this. I don't know if it's a song, but I love it. There's an orchestral introduction. I think it's knowing the theme of the album. The symphony plays in ways that are sweet and sinister. So it's like, there's some sweetness to the fact that maybe we can work on changing the environment, but it's very sinister, like this is what's happening right now. And that comes in the instruments as it's going. The violins, I think, are talking about the sweetness, the positivity, whereas when the horns start playing, that's when it really becomes more sinister.
I actually, when I listen to this, I don't really think of the orchestral intro at all, because it leads into "Welcome to the World of Plastic Beach,"
Yep.
which I think is a really cool song. Actually,
Mhm.
that's like
That's one with Snoop Dogg, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like this like almost like tropical,
Yep.
a tropical like feeling to
Yep,
it, like
yep.
very like you're listening to the waves a little bit. That's how what the melody makes me think of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Snoop Dogg like kind of like introducing you like to like what this album's going to be about and
Yep.
the characters and all that.
I thought that because of what the album is about, thought it was interesting that he was the one that was doing that. I thought they might pick someone else, but I was like, Snoop is talking about this?
Well, he's like also one, he's been associated with them a lot in the past.
Oh, okay.
And two, I think he's just like really good at like an intro.
Okay.
Like he's done
Yeah.
that for other albums too.
Yep.
So yeah, I actually think like his voice like works out, and I think his vocals like work really well with
Yeah.
like the sound of like
Yep.
2D, like the singer from the Gorillaz.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, I guess I see you mentioned White Flag, so I'll let you talk about that one
Oh my gosh.
next.
Okay, first, the Arabic music is glorious. Oh my gosh. If you listen to a song, people, please listen to this one.
Well, this is one where it's like this guy like will once in a while show you that he's like a supreme producer and a composer, and this is like one where that comes out.
Mm-hmm. And it refers back to the plastic beach, the garbage thing too.
Yeah.
So like what you were talking about. So just the music itself, I had a lot of students who were Indian and would do the traditional dances, and they'd show them to us. I felt like I wanted to dance like that with the music. It was just so pretty. So there was a collaboration between, is it Bashi? Kano?
Yeah,
Bashi, Kano, and the Syrian National Orchestra for Arabic Music. Like they pulled on a real.
That's really cool.
Yeah, they pulled in like a group a group that actually plays music like that.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. So going back to what he said about the characters are living on this garbage island, and I was saying it was like the natives. So what that comes out to be is it's representing a white flag that is actually being like waved by the natives on the garbage thing, and they're basically saying we're surrendering to what the travelers are doing when they come to our country.
Well, like people settling America.
Yeah.
Like Columbus or like the Spanish when they like went to Mexico.
Yeah, and then they had to kind of, you hate to say it, the Native Americans had to fly a white flag.
Well, if they don't, like they're gonna kill them.
They're gonna kill them. All right, so this whole thing made me think about cruise ships, and it's because they sail to areas of the world that were once inhabited by native people who had specific traditions in that area, but now these areas have all these tourists coming, and they've almost had to do their white flag. I can't remember.
They have to like sell their tradition.
They have to sell their tradition. That's exactly what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
selling their tradition, which is making it not as, I guess, religious or honorable and meaningful for them. Like we went to this one area, and like they had the people, it was in Mexico, they had the people like doing the traditional dancing, but then they're like, come on up and take pictures for $5. When they're like I was saying, they have to sell their tradition. But the one cool thing is that we went to a Mayan area, and it was pure natural Mayan. Like not many people go on that excursion, if you would, because they don't think it's going to be as exciting. But everything there was traditional. Like everything there was traditional. And we came in, they didn't do any popularizing or stuff. They gave the real native culture to you, and which I thought was amazing. But again, it's truly about native people waving that flag saying, here comes the tourists.
Yeah, and that's like the sad part about like how like I guess like our world economy works and all that, where it's just
100%.
like people take advantage of other people's like culture.
100%.
I mean, it's always been that way. That's kind of like what white people have done throughout history. It's just go take advantage of and steal the culture of others.
But I didn't think about it as deeply until I heard this song. Like I
I
really
mean, that's
didn't.
something I've always thought
Yeah,
about.
that's something I really didn't think about, and then it just brought me back to that, the traditional dancing, and it's like picture for $5, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
So yeah, I like this song a lot.
So, I guess I'll talk about one of my favorite songs,
Mhm.
and I feel like it's funny. You probably picked ones with features, and I think my favorite songs for the most part are songs with no features. They're like
Okay.
the actual Gorillaz songs.
I don't know if White Flag had a feature.
Well, I mean, it's that Syrian artist.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. The Syrian band. Yeah.
But, so one of my favorites is Rhinestone Eyes.
I had a feeling you were gonna like that one. I had a feeling.
That's like in like my top like favorite songs. That's
Mhm.
something I'll listen to all the time, like currently. Like
Yeah.
I'll just put it on. It's just
Yeah.
one of my favorites. But yeah, just like for me, like this song is like one of those where it's like one of the most like Gorillaz.
Yes,
Gorillaz
yes,
sounding
yeah,
song.
yeah, it is, because it really stood out to me, because all of a sudden you're having these, I don't know if I want to say more melodic, but it's
Yeah.
kind of that, but then that song came out, and I'm like, that's traditional
Yeah,
Gorillaz
like this,
right there.
it's like it like has like a dirty beat almost.
Yes, yes.
Like, I don't know like how else to really describe it.
Yes.
It feels like grimy, like
Mhm.
the instrumental.
Mm-hmm.
Like I almost wonder how he like created those synths or whatever, just
Yeah.
because it's so like sludgy sounding.
Yeah, he was getting a lot of praise for being able to do that, being able to produce and create those instrumentals on
Yeah.
that song. He got a lot of rep for that when you look things up.
It's like funk and like hip hop at the same time.
Mhm.
And I really like how the singer, like Gorilla singer Tootie's voice, like almost like contrasts like
Yeah,
how like deep that song or how dark that instrumental is.
yeah,
He like floats on it.
he does, but it also still had that original Gorillaz, like when we listened to the other one.
Yeah.
It had that like traditional Gorillaz on
Oh
it.
yeah. Even like vocally, like it like makes you think of
mhm.
Gorillaz when you
Yep.
think of this.
Yep.
And like Rhinestone Eyes is one of the first ones where like there in this album like the theme is obviously that plastic beach,
Yeah.
but there's also like an underlying theme of which it feels like the lead singer like maybe being in love with someone.
Yes.
And,
yes, I saw that. I saw
This
that.
is the first song that like really refers to that. This is
Yeah.
him like talking about someone else, like
Yep.
like being in love with someone else because of their eyes.
Yeah.
And ironically, I think some of the other songs I picked are also the ones that lean more into that theme. But yeah, so that's Rhinestone Eyes. It's always gonna be one of my favorites.
Cool.
Stylo is another one of my favorites.
That was one of my honorable mentions.
That's one I thought you would pick. This is definitely a more hip hop one.
Yes.
And I just really like the rap verses,
Mhm.
like the rap verse from Mos Def, which I think he goes by Yasin Bey now.
Yeah.
I feel like he changed his.
Yeah.
He went back to his original name.
Right.
But yeah, no, I just really like this one. Is a lot more like darker and hip hoppy as well.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot more of like a Gorillaz like feeling to it. And yeah, I just really like the rap verses on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Lyrically, I think it like goes back more. It has more of like a darker theme back into like the like how like humans are treating their world and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's Stylo.
I could have picked so many more songs from this album.
Yeah.
I really liked this
Yeah.
album a lot.
Normally I'll like
but I had to break it down.
Normally I'll talk about or describe songs more, but like I'm trying not to do that.
Make it a
'cause-
3-hour show.
Yeah, because I could talk about these songs forever.
Yeah.
I could like explain all the lyrics if I
Yep,
wanted to,
yep.
but I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll let you pick another one of your favorites again.
Oh my gosh. So when you know that it's about the environment, and what, how we affect the environment, but also how the environment affects us. So that's Super Fast Jellyfish.
Yeah.
So when you really listen to it, you get the point behind it. So the superficiality and fakeness of what we eat and the pollution caused by the packaging of these products is really prevalent in the song. So like one of here's a little bit of lyrics that go with that. It's like, this morning you've got time for a hot home cooked breakfast. And the way that they say it, it's almost like a grandma or something being like, you have time for a hot cooked breakfast. So they're thinking it's going to be like, eggs and bacon and all that stuff. But then it's like, it's delicious and piping hot in only 3 minutes in the microwave.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that affects people. The microwaves,
Yeah.
the waves, the radiation affect people. And then it's like, yo, there's pretty packages of Frosted Delights. Look, it comes with a toy. I like that. I want a number 4, a number 6, and throw in a plastic donut. So it's really talking about the plastics that come along and the packaging that comes along, and how when you're done with it, you just throw it away, and it becomes garbage. That affects the environment. They also talk about wrappers of many bite sizes. This is when they're breaking down the things that come out of it. Super fast, I come in last. Aluminum, I can crush your fun. Again, garbage. The sea is radioactive. That's the floating island. And all hail King Neptune and his water breathers. So it's like they're saying, hail the beach, hail the, everything about it, but yet they're throwing in the plastic toys and the aluminum and all that junk with it. And that really, really, like, it's just the way it's done, though. It's like fast, and there's like almost like a funniness to it, but the underlying theme is really, really strong in this one.
Yeah, this is like, it almost... They're listening to this album in a way, a lot of times it feels like a play almost.
Yes.
Or like you're watching a musical.
Yep.
And this is a song that it feels like a musical song in a way.
100%.
Like you're watching Hamilton or something, and they're like, it's very like the way like the song is sung is it like really amplifies like what they're saying.
It would be interesting to do a musical with this one.
Yeah.
I bet it could be really good.
Yeah, it could be really interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely. But this definitely feels like a musical song to me.
Yep.
I guess I'll talk about another one of my favorites. Not one of my favorites, it is my favorite.
Okay.
And that's On Melancholy Hill.
Yes.
That's like,
I had a feeling you were going to pick that one.
I would say that's like probably just like one of my favorite songs, like period ever.
Okay.
And I know my brother actually feels the same way. He's not huge into the Gorillaz, but I know he loves this song.
I think you had mentioned that to me when we were talking.
Yeah, because he used to work for this like big music festival around here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he said this song is one that they would always play for sound check at a lot of the big concerts because of the way the way you can like hear like the instruments and stuff and like the bass like when you're playing it, it proves if the speakers are working good basically. Okay. And I feel like On Melancholy Hill is like one of the it's like one of the most poppy songs on this album. Mm-hmm. It probably is the most poppy song on this album.
Yet the title, Melancholy Hill.
Well, I've always loved like the juxtaposition between the melody mm-hmm. and like the lyrics and like the feeling of the song. Yep. Because it feels pretty positive when you're listening to it. Like the melody is like very like bright and like summery, kind of like it always makes me think of like skateboarding or something and just like riding around during the summer with the sun going down. Mm-hmm. That's what the song makes me think of. Mm-hmm. And the lyrics are like kind of like halfway feeding into the world that they're in this plastic beach. Mm-hmm. And then also like the main character being like in love with this person. Okay. And like I've always like loved. There's like a line in the song that I've always like loved where he's like, you can't have the world, but you can have me. Yeah. And it's kind of like talking about how like this is like the world that we're living in is pretty messed up, and you're not gonna be able to fix it. Yep. It is what it is, but this is just where you are. And like if you find someone that like you feel like you could spend your life with, at least you have that person to do it with.
Right, right. Despite what
Yeah.
the world is like.
You can live in that world with not by yourself. At least
Right.
you're with someone else. I just think that's a really cool sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
Like even like for a friend or whatever, you're not alone, and like whatever it is, like
You have someone.
you're
Yeah, it's a
definitely not
friend
alone.
or,
There's someone
yeah,
there that
you can.
has your back that you can talk to
Yep.
about those things that are bothering you in your world.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, on Melancholy Hill is just like in my top favorite songs. Period. This is
Right.
one I listen to all the time, still to this day.
Wow.
There's like a few because like I'm like a person who, for the most part, the music I'm listening to is like new music. I've always been that way. I'm
Yeah.
always listening to stuff from the last like few months.
Yeah.
And I like rotate, but
Mhm.
this is one that like stays in the rotation.
Wow. How much? So this is like kind of what I do if I like songs off an album. I put them on a playlist. Is that how you do it?
Well, I mean, I have tons of songs in my playlist. This is a song where I'll like see.
You'll keep
Oh,
listening to it.
Yeah, I'll look it up in my playlist and I'll
Yeah.
just like turn it on when I'm just like, maybe if I'm just like not in a good mood or something. Like
Yeah.
this is a song that'll like literally like bring my mood up.
Very cool.
It's always been like that for me. So like, so that's on Melancholy Hill, and I see you have one more song, so I'll let
Yeah.
you talk about it.
Broken.
Broken.
And Broken is actually more about a relationship.
Yeah.
But it talks about, again, how the relationship is being affected by how the world is. So this
kind
is
of actually like it comes right after on Melancholy Hill, and it
Yep.
like feeds into that same theme.
Yep.
Where like where this person is saying like the world
This-
doesn't have to.
The world is
Uh,
broken.
The world well, and on Melancholy Hill they're saying like the world doesn't have to change or affect like like our relationship. But
Mhm.
this song is like kind of like saying that it does have to happen.
Yeah, because this song is about
Yeah.
two people who are in a relationship who want to break up, but yet don't want to break up because they want that person with them. What did I say? A theme that has come up in other albums we've reviewed is about that whole thing about a relationship happening and then nobody wants to break up and stuff. And it's difficult. It's broken. Our love is broken. It is far away and in the glitter freeze or in our eyes every time they meet. So, I mean, that's like really powerful. So it's like a relationship is broken. It's far away in a glitter hill, but yet when we look at each other, it's like we're not seeing each other. It's that broken, which is so sad to think
Yeah.
about that. The overuse of technology being brought into this as well is what is affecting the relationship. So they say it's by the light of the plasma screen we keep switched on all through the night while we sleep. While we see there's nothing you can do for them, they are the force between. So even just technology in and of itself is affecting not only relationships but the environment because you're just so glued to it. You're glued to your phone, you're glued to watching like Netflix or horror movies like I do, and that can affect the relationship because maybe somebody wants to go out for a walk and you're like, no, I want to focus on this.
Yeah.
So that's my broken. And I like the way the music. I thought it was a very nice musical theme.
Oh, I mean, and that theme can kind of, or like the lyrics of that song can feed into like the world we live in today, like more than ever. Like
Mhm.
this came out like 15 years ago,
Right.
and I don't know how our
Our lives have gotten worse since then.
like now we're so addicted to these to our phones and all
Yep.
that, to our
Yep.
social media, that like people like can't even like be in. It's hard to be in relationships because you're always like looking at what the other person's liking and
Yep.
thinking that like they're going behind your back or whatever. It's like when everyone's just human and like sometimes you just react, you just like
Right.
things or
right.
whatever
Yeah.
when you're scrolling because we're just all so addicted to it. But
Right.
yeah, it's kind of interesting how like they were like calling that out 15 years ago.
Mhm. I said I do have honorable mentions. Stylo was one of them, and To Binge, featuring I think it's Ukimi Nagona,
It's
which is by, and she's in a group called Little Dragon.
yeah, it's a Little Dragon.
Yeah, but she's the one who's singing in it, and her singing is really pretty.
I was surprised he didn't pick a couple Empire Ants too.
It's a very popular song. You look it up, and that's like one of the songs that automatically pops up that this is like the best song on the album.
That's probably my fourth favorite song. That's in my honorable mentions, but yeah, I thought that's one that I thought that you would like. The other one with Little Dragon, that's Empire Ants. It's like a slower song.
It is.
But
it is.
I always thought it's really pretty.
Yep.
A couple other songs that I really like are Some Kind of Nature. That's another one I thought that you would pick actually. The one
There's so many I could have
with
picked.
Lou Reed.
Yeah. Yes, and
his singing is awesome.
His singing is awesome, but it's really him.
Yeah,
which I'm like
yeah.
blown away that Lou Reed was doing a song with the Gorillaz.
Yeah,
it was
it's probably like right before he died too.
Yeah, it's such a contrast, but it was so well put together.
Yeah,
that was an amazing song.
Yeah, and then another one I really like is Plastic Beach.
Yes.
That's one with Mick Jones.
Yeah, yep.
And that's like towards the end of the album.
It's like the second or third last song or something like that.
But like I said, if I wanted to, I could probably talk about this forever. So I don't think there's a lot more I really need to say about it. But I'm curious what like your overall thoughts are on it.
Well, I mentioned in the beginning, I thought the theme was something completely different until I realized what it was about. And they are really good, and we talked about this before, how they do a story. And it's not just like they're doing a bunch of songs. This is a story of like the environment and how people affect it and how
it affects this like relationships
and what we do.
Yeah.
So when you really follow that storyline, it's so impressive that they could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievably impressive that they were able to keep a theme in every song throughout the album.
You know what's interesting on a side note? This is actually why I thought you would like Magdalena Bay.
Oh, yeah,
because that's what that was.
Yeah.
It's a way different kind of music.
Right. I think it was the music, the musicality of it.
That is what they do the same thing.
The same thing.
Yeah.
And it's so impressive when you can do that. So when I first listened to it, I just kept listening to it, and it seems that there's how many songs on it? There's like 15,
I think like
maybe
15.
Or something like that. It felt so short because I like the album so much, but it's like I would be driving and then it comes into like weird songs that are on a playlist or something, and I'm like, wait, it's done?
Yeah.
So then I'd go back and re-listen to it because it was just such a good album. You wanted to keep listening to it.
Yeah, but I mean, and I guess that does make sense. And when I say this is one of my favorites, like I'm obviously not in the minority on that.
Oh, no.
This is probably considered one of the best albums of the 2010s, like period.
Yeah.
Maybe of the 2000s, just of the century.
Right, and I think I mentioned it already. I'm positive that I did.
A lot of people would probably say this is their best album.
Yeah. Which when it first, like the day or two after it dropped, it got a 4.9 out of 5. Like people were just all over this album.
Like it's up there with like there's a few other albums I can think of maybe like To Pimp a Butterfly, which is something that we should definitely do.
Who's
soon.
that by?
Kendrick Lamar.
Okay. Love Kendrick.
That's like considered his best album.
Okay.
That's like one where like when it dropped, but people were just giving it 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And this is like another one that's like that.
Big fan of Kendrick.
But anyway, so that's how we feel about the Gorillaz Plastic Beach.
Mm-hmm. Listen to it, it's really good.
Well, if you haven't, I would hope that you have, or at least that you know a bunch of these songs.
Yeah, or if you haven't, listen to it, it's worth it.
So I'm Joe.
I'm Joe's mom.
And we're Eastside Vibes, and thanks for watching.
Bye.